Give me Penn State to win this one outright, but West Virginia covers that spread?
You are Locked On Nittany Lions, your daily podcast on the Penn State Nittany Lions. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Let's predict and preview Penn State versus West Virginia and talk about what Penn State's going to do with the football, how they'll attack West Virginia's defense, and what West Virginia will do in return offensively as well. This is Locked On Nittany Lions. I'm your host, Zach Seyko, and thanks so much for making us your first listen and watch every single day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts, including YouTube. And today's show is brought to you by FanDuel. Now through September 22nd, all FanDuel customers can bet just $5. That's all it takes. $5, and you get a 3-week free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. All you got to do is visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to get started. I'd greatly appreciate it if you left a like on this episode, but more importantly, let me know your final score prediction down in the comments section. Key players for both teams, how you think the game will unfold. Be a part of the discussion. But I'll give you my prediction right up front and then back it up with my reasoning to preview the entirety of the game. And I think Penn State wins this one 31-24 over West Virginia. So I do have the Mountaineers covering that spread, and I have the total going over. It's moved. It was 50.5, 51.5, but I think there's some points in this game, and I think West Virginia does in fact cover the total. I think the way that it's going to be is that Penn State will have a lead and West Virginia will cut into it late. So imagine a 31-17 score with West Virginia getting a late touchdown to make things close, and then Penn State is able to just kind of run out the clock at that point. But here are my biggest reasons why Penn State is going to beat West Virginia. Number one, it starts first and foremost with the quarterback, Drew Allar. Allar is back, second year starting. He's improved, and he's even different from last year. So this was the same quarterback that select West Virginia fans and accounts on X like to say that he's not that good. Well, this was the same quarterback that put up 325 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, and no interceptions, and you only got 1 sack against as well. I get it, that was 2023, but Drew Allar's improved. He's better. And a big part of his game now is going to be that dual threat capability. Drew Allar wasn't really that much of a runner in week 1. I feel like a last-ditch effort to try to get the offense to do something. Mike Yurcich just had him run random quarterback draws. Well, now this is going to be coordinated to get his legs a part of the offensive game plan now that Andy Kotelnicki is running the show. Drew Allar is going to be a dual threat quarterback, so he'll be able to attack you with not only his arm, but his legs as well, and he's still going to protect the football. I don't expect any egregious errors in this game from Drew Allar. That's a big part of it too. You're relying on a defense that is potentially top 10 caliber. I think the safe bet is top 15, but I'm confident that this Penn State group can still have a top 10 defense. Allar knows this, and there's no reason to try to put the football in harm's way to win this game, especially when West Virginia's defense isn't going to force, they're not a defense that forces turnovers, but Drew Allar, being back, second year in a row as a starter for Penn State, already had a great performance against West Virginia once. He'll be able to do it again and have a really solid performance this time around. And he's playing now in a system that not only complements him, but is going to give him confidence throughout the season. Number two, and you have to start with the quarterback, but honestly, the ground game is going to be huge for Penn State in this game against West Virginia. So the number two reason is a two-part: Nicholas Singleton and Kaytron Allen. I'm going to talk about West Virginia's returning rushers a lot between the quarterback and their 2 leading running backs, but Penn State returns both of its leading rushers who nearly topped 1,000 yards each. These are both future NFL caliber players. There's no reason for either of them to be selected later than round 3, and they are going to be involved in this game early and often. And I'm not only talking about cycling them into the ground game. You are going as a 1-2 punch, the thunder and the lightning, right? Nicholas Singleton as the speedster and Kaytron Allen as that power back. But they're going to be included in the passing game as well. That was something that was lacking from Mike Yurcich's offense a season ago, where Singleton and Allen really weren't utilized as pass catchers. And now they're going to be. Andy Kotelnicki is going to put an emphasis on it. I expect them both to each have At least 125 total yards. Again, factoring in both the ground game and the receiving game. So if somebody doesn't have 100 yards, that's because somebody might have 50 receiving yards to go along with it if they take away from those rushing yards. Again, I don't really care how Penn State moves the football up and down the field as long as they're able to. And if that means getting Singleton and Allen involved in the passing game, so be it. That goes right into reason number 3. Andy Kotelnicki. Andy Kotelnicki is now the coordinator. Out Mike Yurcich, in Andy Kotelnicki. Play calling will be much better. The offense will be more dynamic and less cookie cutter, less predictable. Drew Aller having more involvement in the ground game himself as a runner. Nicholas Singleton, Katron Allen being involved in the passing game. You'll probably see formations where they are both on the field at the same time outside of that T formation, which is unique. But you have those skill sets. Why keep them off the field one at a time, right? It just got too predictable. And Kotelnicki's pretty familiar with West Virginia. Once upon a time, not too long ago, 2022 season, Kotelnicki's offense at Kansas, this is with Kansas players, put up 49 points against a West Virginia team. And I know what everybody's going to say. That's either a West Virginia fan or a West Virginia supporter or a Penn State doubter. Say, well, those were two different teams, Zach, and this is 2024. I get that. But also remember that things are still consistent. Penn State teams are much more talented than Kansas teams. My point is that Andy Kotelnicki understands how West Virginia operates. What those two things have in common there is that Andy Kotelnicki faced West Virginia and he faced a Neil Brown version of West Virginia. So he understands how the system operates. I know they're two very different teams, but Andy Kotelnicki is familiar and has West Virginia and Neil Brown's number from that previous. And again, that wasn't a long time ago. That was 2022. We're in the 2024 season for anybody that didn't know. Another reason, Penn State is just more gifted and talented as a team. They're just the better overall team. I went on to social media on X and I asked West Virginia accounts that cover the team, follow the team, which players have a future in the NFL. And these were some of the common names, right? Wyatt Milam, Jaheim White, Garnett Hollis, who transferred in, Garrett Green, the quarterback, CJ Donaldson, Josiah Trotter, Cole Taylor. That's a fine, solid group. But I didn't exactly ask where they would be drafted or anything like that too. Just who had a future in the NFL. That doesn't matter if they were drafted first round or if they went undrafted. They would make an NFL roster. That's what my question was asking. So let's take a look at the 2025 big board from Pro Football Focus that ranks draft eligible players. In the top 150, Penn State has 6 players: Abdul Carter, KJ Winston, Tyler Warren, Drew Aller, Nicholas Singleton, and Julian Fleming. West Virginia only has 1 player, Wyatt Milam. All those other players that I named that, again, came from evidence that was provided to me by West Virginia, people that cover West Virginia, follow West Virginia. There's only Wyatt Milam. And other word that I've gathered is that Wyatt Milam is most likely a second-round pick. Abdul Carter, according to The Athletic, is the second best overall player in next year's draft. KJ Winston is graded as a future first-round pick. And that's just in the top 150. So I could go on and on and on about NFL talent that's on Penn State's roster compared to West Virginia. But that's a 6-to-1 ratio right there. Another reason, West Virginia. So I've talked a lot about pro Penn State. Now I'm going to start to criticize West Virginia here, particularly the defensive line and the front 7. When I said it the first time, it didn't sit well with West Virginia fans on X, but the point still stands. I don't care that West Virginia had 33 sacks as a team a season ago, especially against bottom feeders of the Big 12. They led the Big 12 conference. Look at where those sacks came against. What kind of opponents you were facing. Baylor, UCF. You didn't get a lot of pass rush against Penn State a year ago. From Pro Football Focus, once again, the analytics are important here. West Virginia's pass rush was in the bottom 20 in the country in terms of win rate. So what that means is getting after the quarterback. So eventually you might get there, but it takes a long time. So in terms of active pass rush, getting there effectively, West Virginia was one of the worst a season ago and really didn't make all that many wholesale changes in the transfer portal. It got some players, but probably not enough. West Virginia was also 89th in terms of rush yards per attempt. So they allowed over 4.5 yards per rush attempt a season ago, and Penn State's defense was number 1, by the way, which is great for this matchup. So it does not matter that they return most of their starters. That group is still below average, and the secondary was even worse. Now, they did improve in the portal, but part of that had to do with the fact that the defensive line just would not get pressure. They would get late pressure. So the secondary was left out to dry for a long time to cover wide receivers. And then the last point to wrap up this first segment is West Virginia did lose most of its important players on defense. The bright spots on the defense are gone. Lee Koba was everything to them, and he's gone. Leading tackler by a mile, great on design blitzes from the linebacker spot, and a veteran leader that you're not just going to casually replace in week 1. And then Beanie Bishop is gone. In an off-field defense last year, that guy was a maniac. 20 passes defended, led the nation, 4 interceptions, tied for second in the nation. Dude was a beast that I also don't think can be replaced right away. This will make for a higher scoring affair. I think it's 31-24, and that might even be too low at this point. I'm sorry to one of the original commenters on one of my videos. If you're seeing this, that said it was going to be a high scoring game, and I disagree with you. I don't know that this will be an absolute shootout, but this game will have points and go over the total. Both offenses are improved, and West Virginia's defense still has too many question marks for me. Now, coming up, we'll talk about what Penn State is going to do when they have the football. Get ready for the new look Nittany Lion offense. That's coming up next here on Locked On Nittany Lions. And today's episode is brought to you by 5 Hour Energy. Do you want to get in shape, but are you having trouble staying motivated? Make 5 Hour Energy shots part of your lifestyle and get that energy boost you need to get fit. We all know sometimes you don't want to go to the gym, and that's okay. So take a 5 Hour Energy shot to give you the feeling, that alertness, so you can get to the gym. With 0 sugar and a convenient portable size, it's the perfect pick-me-up for getting stuff done. The 5 Hour Energy website has flavors galore. We're talking watermelon, tropical burst, grape, berry, and more. There's truly a flavor for everyone. You can try them all. On the site, you have the option to build your own 12 or 24 pack. You choose the flavors and it's delivered right to your door. If you go to 5hourenergy.com, that is the number 5hourenergy.com, and get some 5 Hour Energy products today, you can use my promo code LOCKEDONCFB to receive 20% off your order. This offer is valid only until September 30th on one order and cannot be used with other promotions. The code is not good on subscription orders either. Again, go to 5hourenergy.com today. Again, that is 5hourenergy.com. Penn State's going to be able to attack this West Virginia defense in a variety of ways. They were susceptible to big plays a season ago in terms of explosive play rate overall. They were 100th according to PFF. But I think that this time around, Penn State's going to focus a little more on the ground game and be run heavy. I don't know that Drew Aller is going to have another 325-yard masterpiece simply because of the play calling here. Again, Andy Kotelnicki was had one of the most run-heavy offenses at Kansas. I think that's going to carry over. When you have Devin Neal at Kansas, it's understandable. When you have Nicholas Singleton and Katron Allen, you'd be crazy not to emphasize the ground game here. So get ready for that new look Penn State offense. And it's still going to be a work in progress, which is why I only have Penn State scoring 31 points. There will be some small things. Again, you're not going to see 110% of the system yet. There's still going to be some communication errors and still things that they work on that they have to carry over from last year to bridge into this season under AK. But Penn State is not going to throw the kitchen sink at West Virginia simply because they really can. Again, this is still a work in progress, but you're going to see the differences right away. There is going to be a lot of pre-snap movement designed to confuse the defense as much as possible. Wide receivers and jet motions, formation shifts. Andy Kotelnicki is going to get creative by any means necessary. And again, I want to reemphasize, Singleton and Allen are going to get involved early, and they're going to get involved often. A West Virginia defense, a front seven particularly, that is just not that good. They're below average. They're not terrible. They're not completely putrid, but they are, by all accounts, below average, and they might be slightly better, but they're still not at that median. Singleton and Allen should have no issues here carving up the front seven. They will be the focal point of the offense. And then there's also this part of the ground game, the running quarterbacks. So Drew Aller is a part of that too. Drew Aller will run the football. Bo Pribula will come in and run the football. Aller is officially confirmed to be down to 235 pounds. He will be used as more of a dual threat QB. I am not trying to argue to say that he's a Denard Robinson, born again, or a vintage Lamar Jackson at Louisville. That is not what I'm saying here, but somebody that can keep defenses honest. You force them to use a quarterback spy. You get the defensive end to hesitate on a read option. Drew Aller is going to be able to open that up by simply running for 5, 10, 15 yards. He doesn't need to go for a 70-yard scamper. I don't think that he can do that. I think Bo Pribula can, and that's why Bo Pribula is going to be utilized as well in select offensive packages, but they are going to bring him in. They are going to use other ways since the wide receiver core isn't this elite and insanely talented group. You can do other things to move the football down the field that Mike Yurcich, for whatever reason, neglected, that Andy Kotelnicki is going to use in his system. So West Virginia's defense will have to remain extremely, extremely disciplined through all of this. Let's move to the pass catchers here. Tyler Warren is going to be the #1 overall target. I said that in my season preview. This is the case in general because he should be. Because he should be. He is an NFL caliber talent. I fully expect him to be drafted somewhere. Some people have him graded as high as round 2. I think round 3 or 4 is a safe pick just for now. We'll see how the season goes. Trey Wallace is the #1 wide receiver, and he actually had a pretty big game against West Virginia last year. 7 catches, 72 yards behind Keandre Lambert-Smith. So now Wallace is back. He's fully healthy. Again, he didn't play a full season in 2023, but now he's back to open up 2024. And I think a name that just isn't mentioned enough, Amari Evans. Amari Evans is going to be used in this offense as well. He's going to get a lot of run here simply because of his speed. Andy Kotelnicki's offense emphasizes explosiveness. That's why he was brought into Penn State. He's almost the anti-Mike Yurcich in this case because they lacked that explosiveness a season ago. But when you don't have a lot of receivers that offer that explosive playability, you have to turn to the one that truly does, and that's Amari Evans with honestly top 3 speed on the team. He will be a guy that you will see constantly in motion. He'll get the jet sweeps. He'll get those end arounds. He will be that deep play threat. You do have to work him into the offense because he isn't a proven player. He's now a veteran, but we're going to see more out of him. I can see Andy Kotelnicki gradually working him into the offense to get him comfortable. But you can use Evans' speed to open up a lot of things as well. And then don't forget Liam Clifford. Liam Clifford has continued to emerge through training camp as they've transitioned practices to focusing fully on West Virginia. Liam Clifford has received rave reviews. I expect him to be that starter. And of course, there's going to be Julian Fleming, Caden Saunders. If and when he is healthy, he does it quoted bumps and bruises, according to James Franklin and company. So that's the core of the wide receivers. Again, West Virginia's defense, they might be a little better, but not by much. I talked about how their top contributors from a season ago went to the NFL and they did a lot of heavy lifting. These weren't just, okay, they were significant contributors, but the other parts of the defense really bailed them out. No, their best linebacker, their best cornerback that did just about everything for them, you do not casually replace that week 1. That is too difficult to do, and that's why I think Penn State's offense, even as a work in progress, will be able to go on the road into an environment like Morgantown and score 30 points. But that's going to be the basis of the offense. Again, an offense that does need to perfect things, does need time. Again, I think they will turn that week 6, week 7, they will be able to turn the corner and truly be that explosive offensive team. But you play conservative and you play to your strengths. Singleton and Allen, you can rely on them week 1 against a front 7 of West Virginia. That's just, they're not that reliable. But why West Virginia can stay within this game is because you got to give credit where credit's due, and it is the offensive side of the football for the Mountaineers. We'll talk about Garrett Green, Jaheim White, and C.J. Donaldson, that explosive ground game, and why they will help West Virginia cover the spread in this one. That's coming up next here. And today's episode is brought to you by Ultimate College Football HC. Hey, Locked On Nittany Lion fans, I'm excited to share a game with you that I know you'll all love, and that's Ultimate College Football HC. You step right into the role of being a head coach, and you can lead your team to glory. Imagine coaching the Nittany Lions, from recruiting players to managing training camps, scholarships. Every crucial decision is in your hands. But can you handle the pressure? What I love most about this game is the ability to call plays, offensive plays, during games, so you can shape your season and your program's future. Ultimate College Football HC is free. It's ad-free. And it's playable offline, perfect for gaming on the go. And as listeners of Locked On Nittany Lions, they're giving away a promo code to help you start your season, Locked On CFB. It's in the game store for a free boost to help you get started. And all you got to do to download the game, go to ultimate-cfb.com or find it in the app stores. Begin your coaching legacy today. That's Ultimate College Football HC. Today's episode is also brought to you by Ibotta. Ibotta is a free app that lets you earn cash back every time you shop. You can earn on hundreds of items, from groceries to beauty supplies to even toys. So you can make sure you're beating inflation no matter what you're purchasing. The average Ibotta user earns $256 per year. That could cover the cost of an entire shopping trip, that flight you've been eyeing, or that fancy dinner you've been craving. Other apps just give you points that don't really amount to much, but with Ibotta, you earn cash back that you can withdraw to your bank account, PayPal, or even gift cards. Simply add the offers in the app, upload your receipt, and voila, the money is yours. You can save on over 2,400 brands, shop at over 1,000 retailers, including your favorite grocery stores, Lowe's, Macy's, Sephora, Best Buy, just to name some of them. And right now, Ibotta is offering our listeners $5 just for trying Ibotta. All you got to do is use the code LOCKEDONCollege when you register. Go to the App Store, Google Play Store, download it for free, the free Ibotta app, to start earning cash back, and use code LOCKEDONCollege. That's IBOTTA in the Google Play or App Store, and use code LOCKEDONCollege. West Virginia's offense is the strength of this team. Now, when they have the football, I want to talk about the keys to stopping West Virginia's offense. Stack the box, because they're going to run the football a lot. Limit Garrett Green's legs. Try to. Again, I didn't say take them away. I said limit them, because it's not going to be an easy task. And don't give up the deep pass. Don't give up the big play that can spark some momentum for West Virginia. Just be aware, because that's what they like to do. Ground and pound, and then try to hit a big play over the top when you're least expecting it. And if you can, easier said than done here, but try to force a turnover if you can, because West Virginia, like Drew Aller, is very good at protecting the football. Garrett Green is a veteran of the game. He does not turn the football over here. Your key players for Penn State are going to be Abdul Carter, Denai Dennis Sutton, an outside linebacker of some sort, whether that's a Tony Rojas or a Dom DeLuca, and Zach Wheatley. And I say that because of the read option plays. Again, you're going to have to account for Garrett Green. So someone like Tony Rojas, if they do run more of a 4-3 this time around with Tom Allen as opposed to the 4-2-5, it's really whoever is responsible for that side. So if Garrett Green is going to fake the inside handoff and pull the football to run to the outside, that means your defensive ends are going to have to stay sharp and focused, and the same thing with whatever outside linebacker or safety that is down in the box. So that can include KJ Winston as well, or a Jalen Reed, a Tony Rojas, whoever. There's going to be a lot of responsibility on them, and why I mentioned Zach Wheatley as well. He's not going to be in the box, but he'll be over the top as the free safety, that last line of defense. So when West Virginia does try the big play, you got to be over there to help, whether it's A.J. Harris or Jalen Kimber. So I think Wheatley playing free safety is going to be a vital part of this game plan as well. Going back to it, West Virginia's offense is the strength of its team. Credit where credit is due. The Mountaineers have their quarterback. 2 leading running backs returned from a season ago, essentially 3 running backs, because of what they were able to do. Garrett Green, Jaheim White, and C.J. Donaldson all ran for over 750 yards each. That's important for an offense that likes to run a lot, isn't it? This is going to be a physical game from the word go for Penn State's defense. And honestly, this might be a good thing that Penn State is playing West Virginia early and not later on in the season, because of the concerns that I've expressed at linebacker. Okay? They don't have the best depth And I wonder if you're missing a player or two, right, that West Virginia is able to gain a little ground there. But West Virginia simply likes to do two things. They like to run the ball a lot, and then when you're least expecting it, try the deep pass to go over the top and catch you sleeping. They were one of the top teams simply by attempting explosive plays, by going deep down the field. So Garrett Green is not afraid to run the football himself or try to take the deep shot at any point in time. So in order to stop this, you have to stack the box. Limit West Virginia as much as you can on first and second down, because that's when it's 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3. They can still get those easy yards. Well, I guess they're not really going to be easy, but they can get the short distances or play action, and it opens up a lot of things. If you can get West Virginia into obvious passing situations, that is the biggest key overall. Force them into obvious passing situations. I know that's easier said than done, but that's the main point of this all. Garrett Green is wildly inaccurate. I saw my counterpart, Mountaineer Paul, lay into another podcaster for criticizing Garrett Green's completion percentage of 53%. So I'm going to pick that up and run with it as well. Really? Everybody is going to defend, on the West Virginia side of things, you're going to defend Garrett Green's 53% completion percentage. I think Drew Aller would be run out of town if that was his completion percentage. I digress from that, but 53% is just flat out awful. Now, I do contend that Green, part of the reason for this is that he throws a lot of downfield deep passage, which is going to hurt your accuracy. That's going to hurt your completion percentage. I will concede that. But my goodness, the dude misses wide open throws a little more routinely than he should, and it's backed up by the analytics. According to Pro Football Focus, they had him graded as the 2nd worst quarterback in terms of uncatchable pass rate. That is bad. I don't need to explain that. That is bad. On top of it, West Virginia's receivers are not all world. They're not world class. They're average at best. And I feel like I'm throwing stones in a glass house here because of Penn State's wide receiver problems the past season. But West Virginia's receivers can't take over games. I would take Penn State's wide receiver group over West Virginia's. I would watch out for the tight end, Cole Taylor. I think he offers security for Garrett Green. He was one of his favorite targets a season ago, led the team in receptions. But those wide receivers cannot take over games. That's my point. They have 6 that will cycle in: Hudson Clement, Preston Fox, Rodney Gallagher. Some people who follow Penn State recruiting might remember that one as well. Jaden Bray, Traylon Ray, that will cycle in as backups. But those are your main players. I said 5 there. So those are your main players. Those are the 5 wide receivers that you're going to see the most from West Virginia. And there's not a true number 1 target as well. They all kind of do a little bit of everything. And Garrett Green likes to distribute the football as much as he can. Those are the main pass catchers for West Virginia in this case. Other things that Penn State's defense can do. You just have to account for Garrett Green's legs. Put a spy on him. You can't allow him to run wild all of the time. That will open up the offense quite a bit, because anytime he fakes the RPO and tries to go through the air, Penn State's going to have, you don't want to overreact to those types of plays. And if you can put a spy on him to, again, limit Garrett Green, that's something else that Penn State's going to try and do here. This is good. I want to finish with this again. I mentioned it earlier in the segment. This is good that Penn State's facing West Virginia now when it's at full strength. They are designed to beat a West Virginia team. They won a season ago. I know the score was 31-15 until late in the game, but that was a 2-touchdown score, and it's in Morgantown, West Virginia. I'm confident that Penn State wins this one, and that's how this game will line up. It's in favor of the Nittany Lions. That is the blueprint for both sides of the football for each team. And I really appreciate you checking out this edition of Locked On Nittany Lions. Again, be a part of the conversation. Let me know down in the comments what your score prediction is. Do you think it's a lower scoring game? Because these teams will run the football. They will chew clock. But I think both the offenses will be able to score points in this one. Please leave a like on the episode. I'd greatly appreciate it. And if you're not already, become an everydayer. Subscribe to Locked On Nittany Lions on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts. We're going to have more previews, more analysis around Penn State, West Virginia, the Penn State team itself. And it'll all be right here for your home for Penn State, for conversations around your favorite Penn State sports. Locked On Nittany Lions. Again, thanks for making Locked On Nittany Lions your first listen and watch every single day. For your second listen, check out Locked On College Football with Spencer McLaughlin. College football is back and Spencer is getting you ready for it all. Game previews, recaps, analysis, talking about the breaking news, getting you ready for college football week in, week out. Again, that's Locked On College Football, available on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.